And we're live. Cindy, can you hear the music?
I can.
Michael, can you hear the music?
Yes, I do.
Oh, then I know we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me both your ears because we have a great show planned for you tonight. We want you to sit back and just enjoy. You're going to hear some very interesting things tonight. Very educational, needed, relevant in this day and age. So whether you're down the street, around the corner, somewhere across America, or around this great big world, we want you to sit down, relax, and listen to the George Espenlaub Show because we have an exciting guest tonight. He's familiar to a lot of you. He's my friend. He'll soon be your friend. And we are going to go deep into this thing in just a little wee bit. So relax. Take a deep breath. It's Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. I lose all track of day. I think it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, so we're almost over the hump. So just sit back and enjoy yourself. Listen, if you know someone that usually listens that isn't listening, or you know someone that never listens, reach out to them on whatever device, however way you reach out. If you yell across the yard to somebody, that'll work too. Tell them the George Espenlaub Show is live right now, coming to you from the funny farm in a place called Our World. We have two goals in mind. One, to bring a smile to your face. And number two, we're going to make you just as goofy as the rest of us. So sit back and relax. And we're going to get into this thing just about, as soon as we crank this thing down, just about now. Let me move these buttons around and push this over here and all that good stuff. And there they are. There they are.
Hi.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I'm fine.
Hey, George.
You guys are looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on this Wednesday night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So are you.
And it's yeah, it's good to have you guys. It really is. Mike, I mentioned to you when we were off the air. I mentioned to you I've known you quite a while now, and we titled this thing tonight. Mike Vilardi is back, and I always call him the Energized Bunny. Really, I think Mike makes the Energized Bunny look like a slouch. I really do. But
Yes, he does.
Mike Vilardi is back. This time he's running. And I told Mike, I said, I've known you for quite a while, Mike, and I've never known you to run until now. So tell me about that running thing, Mike.
Well, now's the time. You know, never before in the history of this country have we seen such division in politics, have we?
You're right.
And I want to try and bring some healing to the process. So I picked a platform that's going to appeal to everybody, whether you're a liberal Democrat or a conservative Christian, it doesn't matter. One of the things in my platform is tax exempt Social Security. Why is that? For 40 years, you get taxed on your social. They take Social Security out of your pay. They give you no tax benefit. If you make $100,000, they'll take $7,000 for Social Security taxes. You get taxed on $100,000. That's like phantom income. That $7,000 disappeared. You had no use of it at all. You still got taxed on it. 40 years later, when they give you back your money that you paid in, they want to tax it up to 85%. If you're 95 years old, you're sitting in a nursing home, okay, you got a pension from being a school teacher, a cop, or whatever, a firefighter, whatever it is, you're going to pay tax on that money. That is nothing more than money that was your money being returned to you.
Right.
So they're double dipping on us.
Absolutely. It's just morally wrong. And there's so many hidden taxes that are just not fair to the American taxpayer. Another example of that is found in unemployment insurance. It's supposed to be insurance. Well, as you know, life insurance isn't taxable. Insurance is not supposed to be taxable. but they make an exception for it. So if you're unemployed, you got to pick it up as income, even though technically it's insurance and should not be taxed. So these are taxes that are set in the tax code that just are unjust to the American taxpayer. And these are some of the wrongs that I want to correct. Another example of that is if you were to lose $30,000 in the stock market, the IRS only allows you to deduct $3,000 of that a year. So it takes you 10,000. It takes you 10 years to recoup that $30,000 loss. Well, I think that's way too long. So I'm going to take that $3,000 number up to $10,000. So you get a quicker loss recapture. Puts more money into your pocket now.
So if anyone knows anything about the tax codes, it's Mike Vilardi for sure. You spent enough years in that institution, didn't you, Mike?
22 years as a federal agent, as an IRS special agent, and then on the other side, 8 years as an IRS enrolled agent, where now I protect people, that have IRS issues. I help them with, it. I work out offers and compromises. I get them the best deal possible. I make sure the IRS doesn't take advantage of them because, sometimes that could happen just because of the system. I'll give you an example. Last night when I spoke in the debate, I talked about a person, Burt Rhodes, who was there. Okay. And Burt came to me with 6 cents in his pocket, and the IRS was levying his Social Security, taking 50%, taking almost half his check. So this man was 76 years old, had to go to work for $10 an hour to pay his bills.
Crazy.
So it's crazy. So I told him, I said, don't, give me a week, we'll take care of it. I got the IRS on the phone, got him on the phone with the IRS. We were able to get the Social Security totally restored to him. Then I took a look at the tax assessment, and the IRS said that he owed them $145,000. Now, he really didn't owe them anything. They had filed a substitute, what's called a substitute return form based on the information they had. They didn't have all the information. When we filed a proper tax return, not only did we wipe out that entire $145,000, we got him a $17,000 check returned to him.
Wow.
Okay. And Burt lets me share this story with people because it is such a great testimony of some of the stuff that I'm able to get done as an IRS enrolled agent. But there are other times where the agents sometimes overshoot the runway, abuse their authority. And if there's not somebody like myself who's able to step in and correct the wrong, all right, then it's very problematic for that taxpayer. So I'll give you another example. A woman out in Las Vegas, Nevada, had an IRS agent come to her home, show her a badge, push her way in the door literally, made her write her a $500 check, went to her husband and told the husband, if your wife doesn't pay us, I'm coming after you. That guy went to divorce court and actually divorced her over the IRS issue. Then they had a meeting with the accountant, and in front of the accountant and my client, she tells him that she's going to take her house and leave her naked and homeless on the street.
Wow.
I said, so I told her, I said, write a letter and let me call this lady's boss, the boss's boss, and talk to her. I sent the letter to him. He looked at it. The guy got the letter and said, hey, we're going to take this, whatever. I said, no. I called the IRS agent. I said, send me the transcripts. I take a look at the transcripts, and everything that she said that was owed was all from gambling winnings. I called the lady up. I said, listen, my client doesn't owe you a dime. She lost more than she ever made. And we closed out the case. She didn't have to pay anything. But the point is, if there wasn't somebody like myself who was standing up for that taxpayer, she would have been in a lot of trouble.
Wow. Well, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
So now I want to do what I do for taxpayers, helping people with IRS issues for constituents in Florida, because I see there's too many wrongs. There's too many abuses of government power. We're spending way too much money. There's too much pork. People go into politics for political gain instead of for doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Right.
to help the constituents. And that's what I want to do, is help the constituents.
Well, we want to welcome Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hi. Hi.
So we have.
Wearing my Vilardi for Congress gear.
I see that. I see that.
Vilardi for Congress.
Vilardi for Congress in the 21st District down there in Florida. We've got
Palm Beach County.
Right.
we've got some Floridians that is on. I want to say on the air. Listen to us, and now they're watching. Cindy, tell me something.
Yes.
Did you have
Yes.
any influence at all to get Mike to run?
Actually, Mike was running, and I had shared with somebody because he came highly recommended by a woman named Florence, who actually had him do some tax things for him. And she told me, Cindy, if this gentleman runs, he's a man of integrity. He is a true blue, because I was working on a campaign with somebody who was not, and I had to quit early on, and I was a little bit apprehensive. But I said, Florence, I trust your judgment because I know you, and she's with Women for Trump. That I said, if Michael Vilardi runs, I will work on his campaign. I did let him know a couple of times. So he actually came to me. And I do know that he is a man of integrity. And that's what I would like people to really understand. And because of my situation earlier, Mike was generous enough to take me to his home and show me all of his accolades, call people so that I would hear again from their voices that he is true blue. He's a man of his word. He's a fighter. He will get the job done. And he is one that really cares. That was really what took me by surprise, is that he truly cares about people. He will go to bat. He takes in strangers. I'm going to say that, Mike, because you have the biggest heart in the whole wide world. But he is one that I personally, as a woman of integrity, and I'm also a minister, would stand behind and is standing behind, because this man is true blue. And we need honest people representing us, the American people. We're tired of rhinos. We're tired of deception. We're tired of lies. We're tired of hidden agendas for people who want to get into office because they have a different plan. I know that Mike's not a politician. He's a hardworking man. He has the accolades. He's got the awards. He's true blue. And that's why Americans here in Palm Beach County, you need to vote for someone who's skilled, who knows what's ahead of him, who has been applied in the work. As if he was hired for a job as for the Congress, as he sets out his resume, everything on his resume validates him. He's the only candidate running in District 21 that is qualified to do the job, with his accolades, with his resume, with the work that he has done. And I'm going to encourage each and every person listening, you really need to, and you can go to his website, which is Vilardi2020.com, and you can speak to him personally, because this is a man you want to back. This is the man that's going to get it done. This is the man that's going to work with President Trump's agenda, and he's going to share more of his agenda and what's on the horizon, and why it's imperative. I mean, it's imperative that you vote for Mike Vilardi for District 21.
I can't wait till she gets excited about this.
Hold me back. Let me tell you how I really feel.
Maria, how do you fit into this picture?
How do I fit in? Well, I'm part of the Mike Vilardi for Congress team, and I would not necessarily join any team. And as Cindy spoke, I too am a woman of righteousness. I too am actually a woman of God, and I wouldn't necessarily put even the T-shirt of another candidate on unless I actually saw it for myself. Mike is definitely one of those individuals. He has, like Cindy noted, he has a big heart. He's big-hearted, and he wants to be the one to fight for the American people. So we're talking about someone that has experience, someone that understands the ins and the outs of what is done behind the scenes within governmental systems here and abroad, and actually is not in it for himself. He has a passion to serve, a passion to fight for the United States, for all Americans. And I think that anyone that loves this country will definitely want, whether they're Latina, whether they're a mother, a woman, a teacher, and I am all of those things, whether they're a veteran and I'm a veteran's child, an only child. Mike is also looking out after every single person as far as, like lowering the taxes. So when it comes to all that, we really need to look at the integrity of candidates that are running, because there are candidates that might look like they're integral, but they're not. They might look like they're wholesome, but they're not. And so I really, truly believe that as we look at who we're going to vote for, and not just look at platforms, but we need to start looking at the root of what drives them an individual. And I would have to attest to the fact that Mike Vilardi has the Lord, Jesus Christ as his personal root, and that integrity flows out of that wellspring. Honesty, integrity, a man of courage and valor, and a man after, God's heart, a man that's going to fight for the American people, like I noted and Cindy noted, and someone that's going to actually stick to his word. He's not going to get in, in Congress and do his own thing and forget about who voted for him. He actually wants to represent, and for a change, we'll have good government in place. So if anybody wants good government, Mike Vilardi's the one that you're going to vote for.
Maria.
Yes, he is. And I'm going to have to sign off now. I'm sorry, but Mike Vilardi 2020, baby.
All right, Cindy.
Yeah.
Hey, Maria, you need to get just a little bit more excited.
Was that not enough?
Oh, no. I'm only kidding. Listen, you talk about accolades, and Mike sure has earned his share. And ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't like he walked in one day and somebody said, well, we feel like giving out one of these things. So here, Mike, you just came by at the right time and you're in the right place. Here, have one. No, he's earned each and every one of them. And I have to wholeheartedly agree that he's a man of integrity and he's a man that we need to put into office. Let me ask you this question, Mike. People say, okay, you live in Florida. You're running in the 21st District of Florida. What does that have to do with me? And we have listeners all across America and around the world. What does that have to do with me if I'm living in South Dakota or Arkansas?
Because my policies are going to have national impact. So if you receive Social Security and you're living in Arkansas or Alaska or Texas, it doesn't matter. I'm going to make your Social Security tax exempt. I'm going to pass legislation that's going to affect every American in this country, but it's going to be in a very positive way.
That makes me jump up and down. Anyhow, let me ask you this: how many folks are running in the primary?
It keeps growing every day. I mean, I think there's now 7 of us. I mean, there's just somebody that just entered the race just the other day. So right now, Laura Loomer has the most money. There's Christian Acosta, who's been in it the longest, and then there's Victor, there's myself, there's like I said, there's a bunch of us, 7 total. But it comes down to who's qualified to get the job done, who'll be the most effective congressman, who'll go to Congress and fight for the American people. And I have a tremendous platform that benefits everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, doesn't matter if you're a Republican. I mean, my healthcare platform, for instance, they're talking about, on the left, they're talking about Medicare for all, okay? A single payer system, right? Well, that would never work. The reason it never works is if the government's the single payer, they make the decision how much they're going to pay the doctor. Typically, they're going to pay a doctor between 40 and 60% of the bill. They're not going to take into account the cost of the medical biller and the cost of the outrageous cost of medical malpractice insurance, okay? And what they do to achieve that is they tax everybody. They have tax rates starting at 70%. Taxes go way up. If you have any money, they're going to take it from you. There's no incentive to get rich. So ultimately what happens is the money never comes in because that money evaporates. People that are rich take the money and go somewhere else. So here's what I do. Instead of making everybody poor, I give the wealthy an incentive to give to medical scholarships. So let's say you're Bill Gates, okay, and you make $10 billion a year, and you want to give $1 billion to medical scholarships. I give you 100% tax deduction, so that you take the billion away from the 10 billion, right? Now you pay tax on 9 billion, and then I give you a 2% tax credit on the amount that went towards the scholarships. So I will put money in your pocket, or I will give you an incentive to pay the government less for giving your money to medical scholarships. So a typical medical scholarship will be $300,000. If you're the recipient of that scholarship, you now have to go to work for the state. Why the state? Because by going to work for the state, you get rid of the two biggest costs of healthcare. That's the medical biller. There's now no reason for anybody to bill anybody. You go to the state doctor, you got a state card, medical bill is out of the way. And secondly, states are self-insured. So there's no cost for medical malpractice insurance. They can cap how much it's going to be, $1 million, whatever that number is. All right. Now you can have health care for as low as $79 a month with a copay of like $20 or $25. And anybody can have it. It's a low cost option. So for people that don't have it, people that have, terminal diseases, they need to see a doctor a lot, they can, and they can have a second option of paying a little bit more every month, $129, and it's on a lower copay. So you could pick your plan, pick your needs, but everybody can afford it. So if you're making $10 an hour, okay, and you need health insurance, one day's pay per month pays your medical bill.
Maria?
Yes.
What makes up the 21st District in Florida?
Well, Mike, why don't you answer that? Because I'm actually coming from a different city just to back Mike.
All right.
So
yes,
that's how, because to me, character is important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually came from 3.5 hours away just to make sure that he has the support that he needs on his side, because character does matter in these races.
Cool.
George, I got to tell you, I am so blessed. I have the best team. I really do. I was fortunate enough to pick up Cindy and somebody else from the other person that dropped out of the race, and that's how I met Maria. And Maria's been a great blessing to me. I got Kelly, who's not on the line. I got my friend Joe Tringali, who's going to come to Washington with me when I win. I got a tremendous support team. I got Rob Whitmore, who's one of the best political consultants I could have ever asked for. I got Ed Lynch, who's a tremendous asset. I have people, Stan Smith, and another guy who's just been a great help to me. I have just an awesome group of people that are behind me, helping me. And our district runs from Wellington, as far north as Wellington, as far south is the beginning of Boca. And there's about 700,000 people in that district, a lot of people. And we're gonna start aggressively going out there, knocking on doors, meeting the people. And every time I sit down and I talk to a person, it doesn't matter if they're a conservative or a liberal, they all have to agree with my ideas on healthcare, Social Security, term limits even. That's another issue that I'm running strong on. It's just not right that somebody goes to Congress and spends 40 years there.
You're right.
In some cases, they stay until they actually die. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's not how our founding fathers meant for it to be. You go, you serve your time, you go back home. So I signed on to term limits that would limit a congressperson to 3 terms and a senator to 2, as well as a president that's already signed into law. After FDR ran 4 times, they made sure they capped the president at 2 terms, because we're not supposed to have a dictator. We're not supposed to have a ruling class government. Right. That is not how we were set up.
You mentioned that you had a debate last night. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and I've seen a lot of things in my 71 years on this planet, but in recent years, I have seen politics, and there's always been a certain amount of getting down and dirty, but I have never seen such ridiculous character assassination, ugliness and you can go on and on and on, describing how it really is. When you have your debates in this preliminary, are they civil?
Yes.
Well, that's good to know. That's good
Yes.
to know.
No, they are. Matter of fact, I like every one of the candidates. I mean, I do. I like every one of them. They're all great people in their own right. Even though we're competitive, running for the same spot, I believe in taking the high road. I'm going to run on my accomplishments, what I can do. I don't need to tear somebody else's house down.
Right. Right.
Now, if they come after me and they look to go low on me, I'll counterattack. But I'm not going to go out there and try. There's no reason for me to, because I have the credentials. I have the life experience. I mean, Laura, who's a really nice girl, but she's 26 years old. So, she just doesn't have the experience.
Right.
I mean, she's been out there on social media. She's done other things, but she doesn't have life experience. She's only 26.
Right.
Running for Congress. So, I was working I was a federal agent before she was even born. Mm-hmm. I was a 9/11, as you know, George, I was a 9/11 responder. I was looking for body parts after 9/11. I was on the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I was on the El Dorado Drug Task Force. I was in the group that stopped the Russians from stealing the gas tax up in New York. They were taking $6 million a month until we took them out. All right. I mean, I've done so many things. I worked for the Ford Motor Company. I was an executive there for 3 years. I got a master's degree. I got an MBA from the University of Massachusetts. I got a BBA. I graduated with honors in accounting. So I have the life experience. I've been around. I've been in my own business for the last 8 years. Before that, I worked for a law firm, and I developed their tax resolution business within the law firm before I went out on my own. So you need that kind of knowledge. And I wrote 3 books. Mm-hmm. Or rewrote 1 book 3 times, I guess is a better way to put it. Okay. 3rd time's a charm, because this book came out really, really good. As a matter of fact, I'm so proud of it because I hired the right editor. The guy did an amazing job. I mean, every time I read it, I'm impressed, but that's the point. The point is I've been around, I've gotten things done, and now I just feel led to jump into this race. And even though I am a tremendous underdog, because the amount of money you need to raise is astronomical. Lois Frankel already has over $1 million put away. So she's just waiting for someone to come out of the primary. Although I heard recently she might get primaried herself. And Laura Loomer, has $250,000. So we're looking to raise at least $100,000 over the next 30 days to be competitive, so we can get our message out there. Because what we have and that other people don't have is the credentials, is the ideas, is the platform that could get us elected.
Maria, I
did want to interject something, if I may, too,
sure.
on the same vein as far as you were asking about, during the debates, how, ugly does it get or whatever. The bottom line here is we're not focusing on other people's junk. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're about. We're going to focus on winning. We're focusing on serving the American people, fighting for them, and winning.
That's refreshing to know, because with the climate that is in the political arena,
exactly.
If you'll excuse me, every now and then I get this. I don't know what you call it, but I still think, and I'll say this in front of God and everybody, I still think somebody needs jaw-jacked every now and then just to get their attention and straighten up. And if there is any bunch of people that needs straightened up, it's these people in Congress, and I'm talking Republicans and I'm talking Democrats.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Some people.
You're absolutely right.
Some people. Grandma used to say, "I'll knock you into a corner, young man." Some people just needs to, and I think that's where the American people must come in. We have to come in and say, enough is enough. I've heard all the garbage, You shoot my dog, I'll shoot your cat. We got dogs and cats laying all over the place. That's people shot and killed each other's dog and cat. The American people has to stand up, and it's good. It's refreshing to know that there's someone that'll say, "Okay, look, we're not gonna go down this path. We're not going down that path. We're going to stand on the issues, and we're going to stand on the platform, and present that to the voters, and let the voters make a real, plain decision that'll benefit them." Are you? I know you're out and about quite a bit, Mike. Are you traveling throughout the whole 21st district?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just traveling up to Tampa and Alabama to try and fundraise a little bit. And tomorrow we're going out. Cindy and I are gonna meet the homeless. We're gonna try and help the homeless people, see what we can do to help them. And I'm going to make an effort to get into every, we got maps. And we're going to kind of divide it up and spend the next year going into each different area and meeting with the voters and talking with them and seeing, what their needs are and what we can do and what they want in a congressperson. But in order to be effective, I believe, because it's only a 2-year term, you have to, hone in on what's important and what you're going to focus on. So my first term in Congress, I'm focusing on getting Social Security to be tax exempt, getting a health care bill passed that's going to make health care affordable for all Americans, getting term limits done, making unemployment insurance non-taxable because it is insurance, upping that loss recapture from 3,000 to 10. And the other thing, I want to get people to understand is when this country was founded, George, our founding fathers wanted us to remember God. And that's been forgotten. And I just want to read to you the first 2 sentences of a proclamation that was given on the congressional floor on the 3rd day of October in 1789. Now, there's not too many people that remember this speech because it's been a long time ago. But here's what George Washington said in front of the Congress. Whereas it is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor. And whereas both houses of Congress have by their joint committees requested me to recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many favors of Almighty God, especially by affording them an opportunity peaceably to establish a form of government for their safety and happiness. And that's how Thanksgiving came to be. That we wouldn't forget God and His favors. And that it's the duty of all nations to acknowledge Him and to obey His will. And we've just gotten so far from that. We've forgotten about who God is. And, the foundations in this country, they've just been destroyed. I mean, for America to be talking about electing a full-blown communist, okay, or a socialist,
it's nuts.
It's unconscionable.
It's true.
I would have never dreamed it in 1,000 years. But as one man said, we've left the barn door open and we took the bridle off the horse, and the horse just went and ran wild. It's startling, and it was something that didn't happen overnight. This has just crept in little by little by little by little by little by little, You know, it's like throwing the frog in the water and then
Boiling frog.
and heating it up a little bit at a time until all of a sudden, wow, here we are. It's startling. It's mind-boggling. And yes, when we knocked the pillar out that said, okay, God can't be in our monuments, God can't be in the courthouse, God can't be in the school, God can't be here, just get out, God. You could almost feel and hear the crumbling of our foundation. Don't you agree?
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
It's sad but
You
true.
know, and can I interject something?
Mm-hmm.
May I? Part of the problem is also that, you know, in order for evil to triumph, it takes good people to do absolutely nothing.
Yes.
And that for
Yes.
far too long has been the problem. And so if everyone is just going to sit and do nothing, then they're going to continue to get what they've been getting.
Yes.
So if they don't like what they've been getting, they have to start either registering to vote if they haven't voted, they're not registered, inviting others that they know may not be registered to vote to get registered, helping people get there, helping the elderly vote, helping young people engage this moment as well. Because what's taking place, these socialists are not waiting. They're in our schools, they're in our governmental systems, they're in every area of influence. And so wholesome, integral individuals, Christian people within church settings, religious sectors are thinking God's going to take care of it. God's going to take care of it. Well, let me tell you something. God does take care of it through individuals like you and I and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
That's how God takes care of it. Every move of God was done through people. So it's a time, it's the moment in time that we all must engage. We cannot afford to sit this one out.
You're absolutely
because
right.
of the sad state of our nation. If we love our United States, then we're going to be united. We're going to be mature sons and daughters of a living God, because God is not mocked. And there's a shaking going on. And he is raising in this time and in this due season, in this moment in time, he is raising mighty men and women of God that dare to stand up for righteousness' sake, that dare to stand up for family, for God, for guns and country. And I say guns because my father was a weapons specialist, and he has never shot people just to kill them and go crazy on them. No, he protects life, and he will always protect life.
I think
so it's good men and women. We have to get up. We have to do something. We can't just sit this out. It's time to be a doer, not just a listener.
I think of the old prophet, and God said, "I've searched, I've sought." He looked everywhere for a man to stand in the gap.
Yes.
Now he wasn't looking for this, that, those, and these. He was looking for a man. And you're absolutely right, Maria. We say God will take care of it, but God has always used people.
That's right.
So, you know, we're looking for a man to stand in the gap. There's a broken down place, and we need to stand in that gap, and that was very well said. And
Thank
Mike
you.
has that Christian foundation. I can't help but think, if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves, seek my face, and pray. You know, there again, he's talking to people, not this, that, those, and these. If my people, which are called by my name, and it's that simple. Mike, I've got some comments here that's whizzing on by. Michael Wilson, he's from up there in Pennsylvania. I don't care. God will be where I am. If I hurt someone's feeling, oh well, life goes on. Boy, that's a big stickler nowadays, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
You know, I'm offended. Don't mention Jesus. Don't mention the Word of God. Don't mention Christian principles. Don't even mention what you just read to us, Mike, because that offends me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like the way that Michael put that. I don't care. God will be where I am. If I hurt someone's feeling, oh well, life goes on. But I think we also need to understand that there's a battle that's taking place. You know, we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, spiritual wickedness in high places. So there's a thing going on with this anti-God, anti-Christ, anti-this, anti-that that's going on. So, Michael, let me throw this one up here. Showing 134, the American public will endure until the day Congress discovers that it can bribe the public with the public's money. America is great because she is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great.
Right.
What do we do, Mike, when we hear the folks on the left, we're going to do this, socialism, communism, the whole 9 yards. What do we do when they come up with this single payer? The government's going to be the single payer. And like Maria said, we have to get out to the ballot boxes. Isn't that right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and something else that we can do that I have seen over and over play out is sometimes people think they can't really do anything because they might be on a minimum wage type salary. Well, guess what? If a million people on a minimum wage salary will actually donate $1 to the candidate of choice, to the candidate like Mike Vilardi that's going to fight for them, that they will end up winning more on their return on that $1, and that in turn would be $1 million to be able to fight for them, because it does require funding. And so when people think they can't, we're in America. A lot of us have stuff we don't even need. Have a yard sale, and whatever you actually contribute, and be a part of the change, be a part of good government, be a part of the fight. Because when Mike's fighting and when we're out there, and also something else they can do is volunteer to make phone calls, volunteer to help out, volunteer to knock on doors. Because guess what? Many hands make work light. Many hands make work light. And this is not about just Mike. This is not about me. This is not just about you. No, it's about us.
Right.
Teamwork is essential. And we are called the United States for a reason. Let's act like it. Let's be it. And let's be the change we want to see until good government, through people like Mike Vilardi, are actually, in place.
Michael, what do you say to people? And I've heard it, and I'm sure you have heard it, and you'll probably hear it a lot on the campaign trail. Well, they're up there in Washington, and this, that, and all these other things, and it really don't affect me. I'm sure you've heard that, and none of them's any good. So why should I even be concerned? My vote don't count. All those things. What do you say to people like that, Mike?
Well, hey, look at the 2000 election in Florida. I mean, George Bush won by like less than 500 votes. So that just shows you that every vote does count. And it comes down to difference in philosophy. So the Democrats will want to make you poor. They're going to give you something for free, but make everybody poor in the process. Mm-hmm. I take the principle, like the Bible says, you've got to put your hand to the plow.
Right.
If you're going to sit and watch television all day and do nothing, you shouldn't be rewarded. So That's why my health care plan is affordable, $79, but everybody pays. Mm-hmm. Everybody pays, but it's affordable so everybody can afford it. What the Democrats do is say, we're going to give you this for free, but we're going to make everybody else poor, because by keeping everybody poor, you're going to get it's like a sugar rush.
Yeah.
You got to have that candy, and they keep you, and that's how you get Venezuela.
Yeah.
So I have to get the message across that it's better to work hard, have the ability to be wealthy, instead of taking that ability away from people where no one can be wealthy. Because when your tax rates go from 30% to 70%, you're giving up a lot. And that's a lot less money that's in the economy. The stock market falls. It has an effect, that a trickle-down effect that will affect everybody. Then nobody will have money. And everybody's eating out of garbage cans and go, geez, how did this happen to us?
I told you.
That's right. And, the other thing is to keep in mind is, the socialists will promise the people everything. They're out there to tickle their ears. Free this, free that, free ice cream.
Right.
They were even offering free ice cream at one of the debates. And, let me tell you what happens when all the freebies are gone. People in Venezuela right now, all the free stuff is gone. They don't even have toilet paper. I was sending them toothpaste, toilet papers, just essential toiletries, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant. I mean, you guys, anybody that thinks all that free stuff doesn't have a price, better think twice. Because once the free stuff is gone, they're going to be wishing they had toilet paper, like the people in Venezuela, because that's how it starts.
I read an article about a professor, an economics professor. One of his students said, "Why socialism seems like a great idea." The professor said, "Would you like to try it?" They said, "Sure." The whole class agreed. He said, "Here's what we're going to do. The first test, the next test we have, whatever the average is, that's what everybody gets. So as a result, the test grades come back, the average is an 85. The people that got a 98 are complaining. My God, I got a 98. Why should I get an 85? The people that got a 50 was great. I got an 85. I don't have to do anything. Guess what happened on the second test? The scores dropped to 68. Then everybody's fighting and bickering. How come you didn't study? How come you didn't study? I thought you were going to do it. Last time you got a 98. The third test, everybody failed. Once you take away the ability and the incentive to work and be rewarded for your work and your labor, instead what they do is they reward your laziness. Mm-hmm. They encourage you to be poor and have nothing. Mm-hmm. We'll take care of you. And so you get no production. And without production, it's only a matter of time before the entire economy goes into crap.
Exactly. How much difference is between you and the other Republican candidates for the primary?
Well, I'm the only one that has a platform, a pillar of tax-free Social Security. Because tax-free Social Security, the difference between that and giving something away for free is it's your money. In other words, the government came and took your money from you for 40 years. Yep. Now when they give it back to you, they want to tax you on it. Well, that's wrong. Yep. So that's your money being returned to you. That's a wrong that has to be righted. So I kind of pulled the page from the Democratic playbook, but it's just to set it right. You should not be taxed twice, and that's what's happening to these people. You're 95 years old, and what are the Democrats doing? They're taxing the 95-year-old people in the nursing homes.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, on their money that's being returned to them, it's just wrong. And I'm going to hammer on a lot of points. I'm going to hammer on the school shootings. The school shootings we had in Florida shouldn't have happened. If I was in office, they wouldn't have happened. You want to know why? Because here's what I would have done. I would have done 3 things that would have stopped it. The first thing I would have done was I would have got rid of the gun-free zones.
Right.
Here's what a gun-free zone means. It means the retired Secret Service agent, the guy that worked on, protected George Bush and President Obama, okay? After 9/11, President Bush passed a law. It's called H.R. 218. And I'm going to hold up my H.R. 218 card here. Okay, that's it. It's a qualification card that allows all federal agents to carry firearms in any state as long as they qualify. Okay? Mm-hmm. Well, when they passed that gun-free zone law, they made sure that those Secret Service agents that used to protect the president, they got to lock up their guns in the car. Mm. Does that make any sense?
No.
So they can't protect the kids in school. So now, of course, everybody knows it's like me putting a big sign outside my door. I don't believe in guns. Please don't rob me. What do you think? Listen, I teach women self-defense, okay? And I always teach them, I said, you never want to say, please don't hurt me. Because you're telling them you're done. You're lost. Right. It's over. You know? You say, I'm going to rip your throat out if you touch me one more time. It's much more effective. Okay, so that's the first thing that should happen. Now there's a deterrent. Everyone knows. Hey, you go into that school, the Secret Service agents from the old secrets, they could be in there with guns. You never know.
Right.
You're not going to go in there. Here's the other thing: the police needed equipment that they should have got through federal funding. Okay, they should have special vests in the car that'll stop anything coming out of a rifle. Okay, dragon skin type vests, not the ones they wear that'll stop most anything out of a handgun, but a special vest for a rifle if they're in that situation. They should have a ballistic helmet. They should have an AR-15 for them in case they need it to combat the person. And they should have all that equipment in the car. They should also have special training. The FATS machine, which is a special machine that tests your judgment. And they should have live simulations training where you're used to taking fire. So you're not sitting outside scared to death because there's a guy there with a gun shooting and you're afraid to confront him. And all that stuff should have been done. And she never did any of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to hammer that home. If you want to vote for her, you like school shootings, keep voting for her. You want to stop them, you vote for Mike Vilardi. Because that sort of stuff was the deterrent, the training. Listen, before 9/11, I firmly believe they had changed the policy about agents carrying their weapons on guns, their guns on the planes. I don't think they would have planned that unless they knew that was in effect. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a group meeting and saying to my boss, Fred, I said, well, that's so stupid. Why wouldn't you want a federal agent on the plane to protect somebody if somebody tried to hijack the plane?
Right.
And from 9/12 forward, every federal agent takes their gun on the plane. And every federal agent got air marshal training after that. So one time me and my boss were down in Jacksonville, and we got on the plane to go home, and they took the air marshals off the plane, and we became the air marshals because we all had air marshal training. And now since that time, there hasn't been an issue, has there, with planes flying into building?
Right.
No, because there's people on the plane armed to defend. And that's how it should be with the schools. Okay, you have to have those policies in place. So it's bad policies. And that's why shooters are going to go to where there's no threat.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like fishing in a barrel. Yes, as a teacher, I'm also a teacher. As a teacher, our police officers on campus, they have to actually have their gun locked up. That makes no sense.
Have their gun locked up?
And they're, in some box in a different building. So if a shooter comes in, they have to make it, provided they can make it to that building, to go get their gun. I mean, that makes no sense.
Wow. And Grandma,
and it is like fishing in a barrel. Innocent lives that can be protected.
Grandma used to say that's crazier than a bed bug, but
yes, it is crazier than a bed bug. Grandma's right. That's wisdom.
That is the truest sense or the truest definition of insanity that I've ever heard of. Mike, as you look across America, not just in the 21st district or the state of Florida, but across America, and you look at the political landscape, what do you see for the election that's coming next November?
Well, here's what I see. The economy is about the best it's been. The stock market is the highest it's been. We're in 2019, and gas here in Florida is $2.37. That is very cheap, okay? Unemployment is the lowest it's been. So we have a tremendous economy where, jobs are there. So I can't see how President Trump could lose to any of the candidates on the other side who are touting socialism or communism or talking about 70% tax rates. They're not talking about what they're going to do for the American people. Right. What are you going to do to put money in somebody's pocket? I want to make your life better as a politician. I want to put money in your pocket. I want to lower your taxes. I want to give you opportunities. I don't want to give you stuff for free because that's going to do nothing. That's going to encourage you to do nothing. But I want to give you the opportunities to gain wealth, to make yourself great, to live a better life. So I think Trump is going to win, and I think that's why they're pushing this impeachment, because they don't have a candidate who is electable nationally. I just don't see anybody. Joe Biden's a nice guy, but he doesn't know what state he's in. He doesn't know what year he's running. You know, Joe Biden 2030.com. I mean, he's a nice guy. Doesn't have it. Elizabeth Warren's way too to the left. Bernie Sanders is a communist. I mean, who do you have that? And the people that might possibly win, like an Amy Klobuchar who has more centrist type ideas, they're not getting any traction in the primary.
Right.
So, and I think if this impeachment goes to the Senate, and the Senate then starts going into the evidence, they have subpoena power, what's going to happen is Trump is going to become more popular. And I think the Republicans are going to win in a very big way.
When is the primary in Florida?
It's August 18th.
August 18th. So we're what? 10 months out?
That's 10 months out. Right. Exactly. And we got, let me see where I have my stickers here. Yeah, but make sure I'm right on that. Yeah, it's the 18th, August 18th, 2020. Yep.
August 18th.
Yeah.
So, wow. It's going to be a political fight between now and August. Then you have the preliminary. And then in November is the general election.
Right.
What the incumbent in the 21st district, I assume, is a Democrat now?
Yeah, Lois Frankel, yes.
What's the chances of a Republican beating the incumbent?
Well, they're not great. I mean, you know, it's a D9 district. I personally think I can flip it if I'm the candidate, because I have the platform that will get Democrats to vote Republican. I think all the elderly people would want their Social Security to be tax exempt. I think the young people would want to be able to get health care for $79 a month. I think everybody would agree on term limits. So I have a platform that will appeal to both Democrats and Republicans, and I don't think anybody else has that platform like mine.
And I would encourage people that's listening, people that's watching, let's get off of this. And I'm registered as a Republican, but let's get off of these titles: Republican, Democrat, this, that,
Yes.
those, and these, and let's all be Americans. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist just to sit down for a few seconds and realize, oh, wait a minute, I have to rationally think this thing through. What's good for the country? What is going to make the country, or make America great again? And people get all twisted and bent out of shape, and they're offended. Why wouldn't we want to make America great again?
Right? They live here.
Yeah. So people just need to put the title, the party lines over here and say, look, before I'm anything else, I'm an American. What's going to benefit this country? My life, my family, this country as a whole. So I'll listen to what this man says over here, and I'll get behind this man. I believe in this man. And I think if we do those simple little things, we can turn this country around. I don't think we're totally lost yet. But Maria, you said it earlier, we can't set this one out. Not by a long shot. We can't sit this one out because, Michael, I feel that we didn't lose it yet, but we're on the crossroads. Do you agree?
Absolutely, George. Absolutely. It's a matter of time. I think we're going to win in 2020, win in 2024. I think in 2028 it's over. That's what I put in my book. Mm-hmm. I think by 2028 the Democrats will just have enough people, the population-wise, to take the country down that wrong road, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. But these elections are critical elections. And I fear for this country.
Yes. Yes.
I fear for this country.
Yes.
Because people don't realize, when you rebel against God, and what it is really rebellion against God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's a judgment that comes with it. There's consequences for our actions. And you could see how the foundations, the family unit has been destroyed. I mean, half of the children born are now being born out of wedlock.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's not uncommon to go to a dating site, go out with somebody and have sex on the first date. That's not uncommon.
Right.
I mean, my parents come from a generation where, my mother was a virgin when she got married. All the cousins were virgins when they got married. It was if you had sex before marriage, when you in that generation, you were shunned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's just a common thing. So what happens now that the foundations have been destroyed? That's what's so tough. David said in the book of Psalms, "What can the righteous do when the foundations have been destroyed?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Constitution was made for a godly people,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the presumptions, is that we obey the will of God.
Right.
You can give a gun to a godly man. You can't give a gun to an ungodly one because you don't know what he'll do with it.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Okay? I mean, so that's, those protections were for godly people. And that's why so early on in this country's founding, October 3rd of 1789, they proclaimed Thanksgiving so that people would not forget about Almighty God. We put "In God we trust" on our money.
Yep.
And yet we don't seem to trust him very much, do we?
That's true. That's true. Maria, you look like you want to say something.
Yes, I did. As we're talking about the things of God, we have to remember, because sometimes God seems to get the bad rap for everything that goes on. Oh, well, good, the good Lord wanted that to happen. No, it's not always. Why does God always get the bad rap? I think people need to realize God is holy. God is just. And he does give free will. And so when people are just doing whatever the heck they want and walking away from the divine order of things, then obviously they're seeing the consequences in society. And so basically God is not going to lower his standards. It is us. We have to decide, each and every one of us as individuals, we have to decide, have that contrite heart before God. God, forgive us. Forgive me. Let's start there. Forgive me for sinning against you. And then from there, forgive my family for sinning against you. Forgive my region, my state, my city, my nation for sinning against you, oh God. And I choose to just turn everything over to you. Wash me, make me whole in front of you. And with a repentant heart, he says, if my people humble themselves, okay? And when we have that contrite heart, that doesn't mean that we could have lived like that. We had to live a perfect life, because it says in the word that we have all fallen short of the glory of God. So when we have that contrite heart, when we're sincere, because see, God will not be mocked. He knows what's in our heart, whether we mean it or not. We can lie to everybody else on the planet till we're blue in the face, and we might get away with stuff or think we get away with stuff. But you know who's always watching? God sees it all, God hears it all, and God knows it all. And when his people, which is us, each and every one of us that decide to turn away from sin and turn to him, and he's not some mean, hateful God that's out to send you and throw you in hell. No, there's a consequence. But he actually is a loving God. He wants what's best for each and every one of us. But see, he wants us to turn to him, to turn away from sin. And in that doing, okay, that means we have to raise our standards. Do we choose to be vessels of righteousness? Do we choose to be speakers of truth, even if we stand alone? Do we choose to uphold all things good according to what God says in his word? It's not what Maria says. It's not what anybody else says. No, what does God say in his word? Right. And when we choose that, That means we're deciding to elevate the standard. We raise the standard in our life. We decide, you know what? I'm not just going to listen to God's word, where you go to church and nothing changes in life, and you go out sitting till next Sunday or next month or next year, whenever you decide to, to fellowship with God, whether it's reading your word, whether it's praying, or whether going to, a building to worship with others. So that's something to think about, because, oftentimes we think that we're in control of life. And we all need to have the fear of a living God. That means to know that we know that, hey, you know what? God is watching each and every one of us, even right now. God is listening to all of us. God is watching, and God knows. He knows the end from the beginning, and he also knows what's in our hearts. So when we have that contrite heart, if we want good government, we're going to do what it takes. So let's not make excuses. Let's grow up, be mature sons and daughters, mature individuals, mature enough to say to our I have all friends from all spectrums. I have Democrat friends, Republican friends, nonpartisan friends that don't even vote yet. Some are Amish, some are Mennonite that would be excommunicated. Some are starting to vote and registered, and they're kind of, on the fence line, like, do we tell everybody else? We might get excommunicated, because they're seeing we're not okay with what's been happening. Pornography, not okay. They're starting to become those pillars in society, those pillars of righteousness. That belongs to us. That's not God's fault. It's man's fault. Each and every one of us that looks the other way. And because when we do nothing to rectify situations that we come across, that means that if we're doing nothing, that means we're in agreement. If we say nothing, we're in agreement.
That's exactly
I'm not in
right.
agreement with all that's wrong.
Mike? If somebody
Yes.
wants to donate to your campaign, how and where do they go and do it?
Vilardi2020.com. I also have I'm going to give you a Vilardi 2020 is that's going to be set up on the portal soon. But they could also send checks to Vilardi for Congress at 4781 North Congress Avenue, number 105, and that's in Boynton Beach, Florida, 33426. And let's see if I can hold this up where you can see it. I don't know if I can, but
Put it closer to the screen.
yeah, let me put it closer to the screen.
Oh, maybe like
There
right
we go,
there.
right like that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Vilardi for Congress,
Turn.
4781 North Congress Avenue, number 105, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33426.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep, we appreciate anything that comes in. We got to raise 100,000 over the next 30, 60 days to become, to be viable. We can't, Laura Loomer already has 250,000. Lois has $1 million in the bank. And, just believe in God that money's going to come in to keep us in the race.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, tonight, let's see, we talked politics. We had church.
Right.
We covered a lot of ground, didn't we, Michael?
We did. And I just want to thank you, George, for, having us. You've been a great friend to me for years. And I just want to say that I have the best team in the world. I'm so proud of the girls that are working with me, Maria and Cindy and Kelly and Melissa. And, I just have a great team of advisors, the best in the business. I just got to give them a lot of credit. I really don't know where would I be without everybody. You can't do this alone. You got to have a great team around you. And I just feel so blessed to have the best team around me to help me, to encourage me, and to guide me in the way that I should go. I mean, people like Rob, my friend Rob Whitmore, and Stan and Eddie, and I'm just overwhelmed by the people that God has placed in my life for this purpose. My friend David Piper, who I went to Alabama with, who just is absolutely an amazing guy, and who really is there for me to make this thing happen. So I have the people in place, and I'm very thankful. I'm like I said, I have just the best team in the world. I couldn't ask for better people. I'm just so proud of each and every one of them.
Well, we love Mike, and we united we stand for the love of country, our country, and people.
Yep, we're pro-family, pro-faith,
Michael, always remember, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And when he gives the marching, when I was in the Marine Corps, we used to have a thing, somebody would holler, saddle up. And the first time I ever heard that, I thought, there's no horses around here. We're not going to go on a horse ride. But saddle up. That meant we had some marching orders. So the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And when he orders those steps, they'll only lead in the path of righteousness and honor and glory for him. Michael, you're a good friend, my man. You are a good, good friend. I love you. I appreciate you. You're in my prayers. Maria, you get that team out there and do what you got to do. And, if there's ever been a good song, Onward Christian Soldiers, I think that would fit it. So tonight we talk
That's
politics.
fitting.
Tonight we talk money. Tonight we talk policy. And tonight we had church. I really do believe we had church tonight. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Michael,
Thank you for having us. What a privilege.
Oh, it's been an honor to have you. Michael, you got my number and all them other things. Anytime you need me, brother, you holler at me. Day or night, makes no difference. You holler at me.
George, thank you. I really appreciate you. You've been a great friend, and I appreciate you very much.
All right, old buddy. Onward and upward, because that's where we're going. God
Amen.
Bless you guys. May he keep you right in the center of his hand. Wow.
Amen.
What a tremendous. I had fun. And by the way, there's Mike's book. You get it at MikeVilardibooks.com. Wow. I'm just blip. That's what I am. I just really am. What a night. I thank everybody for tuning in. And regardless, whether you're down the street, yep, we got them listeners. If you're around the corner, they listen too. Somewhere across America, everywhere across America, they listen. And around the world. It amazes me sometimes when we take the time to go look at some statistics of the people that listens and where. I mean, they're here, there, and everywhere. And we're so thankful for their support, for your support. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight to the George Espenlaub Show. My, oh my. Tomorrow night at listeners and viewers' request. Tomorrow night we're going to have a special show with my friend Ed Temple, who is the author of Escape from Uncle Sam's Plantation, school choice book. Somebody suggested to us after the last time we run a show with Ed, somebody suggested to us, why don't you do some segments and go chapter by chapter in the book? So that's what we're going to start tomorrow night. My goodness. Let's get this school choice ball rolling too, because it hinges. Somebody's battling for the mind. And somebody's going to get the mind, be it good or be it evil. We have a grave responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, grave responsibility. Train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he won't depart from it. Just remember that. So, wherever you're at, I hope you have a very fine night if it's nighttime. If it's already daytime, you have a great day. But until tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be here with my friend Ed Temple. Michael, thank you so very, very much. Maria, thank you so very, very much. Tell Cindy.
Thank you, George.
Tell Cindy I said thank you. And I just trust and pray that God keeps each and every one of you right in the center of his hand. So until then, everyone here at the George Espenlaub Show, the whole gang, We're going to tell you good night, everybody.
Good night.